Hey everybody, welcome back to Anime Sekai Podcast. I am your host, Ichigo.
And I am your other host, Mika.
Join us this week as we discuss diversity in anime. Hey guys, welcome back.
Hey guys.
We are so happy to have you guys. Thank you for joining us. This week we will be discussing diversity in anime. And first and foremost, happy Black History Month.
Yay!
Yay! And second, just jumping right into the topic, Mikan, how do you feel about diversity in anime? So seeing different types of characters representing different people around the world. What do you think?
So, first of all, I mean, overall, I personally think that it has improved since back in the day.
Mhm.
Obviously, with things like social media and much more like the internet itself becoming more accessible. And I do think that not only anime studios, but also mangakas and whatnot, they can interact with more of an international audience. Anime studios can see like what people outside of Japan are saying. Also, with the rise of like streaming companies like, Netflix collaborating with these studios, I think we'll continue to see sort of like a more of an international touch to anime. And I do
Yeah,
think it has improved.
right.
Um, but of course, I have a lot of more other things to say. But but, like, in your opinion, like, what about you? What do you think overall so far?
I would agree. I definitely can see that there are a lot more diverse characters that I've
Mhm.
noticed in different anime that I know growing up back in the 90s, we didn't see that.
Yeah.
So the first character for me that was a black character, for me personally growing up, I thought it was Sailor Pluto.
Uh-huh.
In my mind, she was black
Mhm. I
and
can see that.
nobody could tell me any different. And now I see so many other characters in a vast, wide variety of different types of anime that it's actually good to see. Now, do I
Mhm.
think there should be an increase of different types of characters in a vast variety of different anime? I think that there should be more, but I know that it's definitely been an increase from back in the day. So it seems like
Mhm.
it is slowly increasing.
Yes, I'm with you there. Like, compared to what I just said and what you just said, I feel like there is a big however,
Yes.
and that's a big
However,
one.
yes.
In my opinion, it's still and probably, if I'm being completely honest with myself, it will probably never be as inclusive as, like, me, an American, will wish for. Um,
Mm,
and in my opinion, that's simply for the fact that the people making anime, like, the vast majority of them, and manga do not even remotely have a similar, like, life view, let alone
mhm.
life experience as me.
Right.
And I would say that's in, like, 2 major differences is, like, in the field, first of all, is male dominated. It's a male dominated field, and I do think that will continue to be the case. And it's all Japanese or East Asians living in an East Asian country.
Right.
Though that is, like, the vast majority, and I do think that will continue for the years to come.
I would agree with that, but I will also add that it seems like there are a lot of people here in the States that are also working hard to change that. Like there are a lot of individuals, individual artists, individual creators that are working hard to create their own. So there are a lot of, I'll say, individual studios that are owned by other people of color, and they are creating anime for specifically their target groups. So, for example, there are a few studios that have been popping up on my Instagram feed where there are people who are trying to make their own anime, and a majority of the characters in the anime are people of color. And I think that that's great. I think that that's awesome. I think that that is what we need. But I also agree with what you're saying is like, it's mostly a male-dominated anime area.
It's yeah, the field itself. Mhm.
Yeah, but I
And
want to see
yeah.
a lot more females joining in, and if anything, I
Oof.
wanna see a lot of people from all over the world. If their passion is like, "I want to work in the anime industry," figure out a way to get into the anime industry in Japan and, like, start small changes from there. Not even just in Japan, but, like, start small changes elsewhere.
Yeah. So I think like in other countries, like especially in America here, like there are many production companies, like obviously, but it's really hard to get into this sector already in Japan. Now, this is Japan. And for those of you who don't know, I love Japan. I love so many things about Japan, but these are people that struggle with change. Okay. They do not know how to change. And in a sense, like different from how there's some conservative parts in like the United States, when it comes to, I think, sexism and whatnot, men and women, it's a very male-dominated society, and I think that's gonna be it's I mean, it's even harder in the US, so I don't know. Japan, I'm not holding before my lifetime, I don't know. I don't know if I'll see what I would like to see come out of there, but therefore, for me, like, the people that write these stories that I love, produce, direct, character design, they're all the majority of them, especially at the higher levels who make these decisions are East Asian men. Their
Mm,
worldview is going to be very different from a woman like me, but also an American. You know, and Japan, which
yeah.
still produces the majority of anime, is one of the most homogenous countries in the world. They have, like, what?
Mm,
I think I looked it up. They have, like, a 98.5% Japanese population. And the fact is most Japanese people have never seen or will never see a person, like, let's say, of a darker complexion or even a white person in real life, you know? They
yeah.
will go their whole life that way. So, it's just for me to expect that they would write a story that I could, you know, or, like, somebody else could relate to is quite, I don't know, very difficult.
Well, and I feel like it reflects a little bit in their anime as well.
Mhm.
Whereas, back in the day, if they had anime characters who were from a different country and they were speaking Japanese, their Japanese
Yeah.
was very butchered. A lot of
Yeah.
the female characters, let's say if they were from America, blonde hair, blue eyes, with a very large chest, or just like, they were small and petite in certain anime where they were really cute, but they just loved Japan so much that they like moved to Japan. And it almost seemed like they made these characters from across the world like these just over the top anime otaku lovers.
Yeah.
And that's the whole reason why they went to Japan,
Yeah.
when in reality, that may not be the case for every single person, it's very
Yes.
generalized.
Yeah. Honestly, it's really funny because 'cause I'm always thinking because when I'm watching something, obviously, I can only watch it in, you know, how I see it, the way I view the world, obviously, but I
Mhm.
always think because 'cause I'm like, these stories are technically written for Japanese people, you
Right.
know, the stories itself, and the mangas and the anime creators, typically, they don't really make anime, at least not quite yet, with an international audience in mind. This only became more of a recent thing, you know, recent concept, and even then, they're still making these stories for Japanese people most of the time. Also, more so specifically for manga, like, most of the mangakas, like, could never even dream of making it outside of Japan, you know? That level of fame is very unlikely to have, like, that popular of a story.
Right.
Obviously, with social media becoming more prominent and whatnot, they're able to interact with like, an international audience, but they still don't live the same experience. So it's always funny for me because I'm watching these things and thinking, "Wow, is that what Japanese people think, like, other countries would be like?" I always think that's funny.
Well, and I feel like with certain anime, it also depends on the genre type as well. Like,
Yes.
I feel like more recently we're seeing a blend of different types of characters from all of the world in more so shonen types of
Mhm.
anime,
Yeah.
where the show might not necessarily be based in Japan. It could be based in like an isekai. And because they're in an isekai, there's different people from all over the world, for example. Or if it's an anime like Sword Art Online, where everybody logs in, which is also an isekai, but where everybody kind of logs in, then you
Yeah.
interact with different players from all over the world. And so I feel like it's a lot more diverse in that aspect, but you don't see a lot of diverse characters in the shoujo aspect. And
Mm.
I feel like because a lot of the shoujo type of anime are based in Japan. And
Yeah.
so they
Like
have
school life
a
or
right,
mhm.
they have like a school life type show, or if it's like a workplace, they're still within Japan. Like they don't leave Japan. These two people, they're falling in love,
Yeah.
and I feel like it wasn't until recently that now we're starting to see characters who have a type of disability. So, for example, the latest one, A Sign of Affection, where the main female character is hearing impaired.
Mhm.
And you didn't see a lot of anime where they have a character who's considered a main character or is a main character who has a type of disability.
Yeah.
And I feel like it wasn't until A Silent Voice came out, because that's the only other anime that I can think of that has a hearing impaired character.
Mhm.
When A Silent Voice came out, I feel like that kind of changed the game a little bit. And then A Silent Voice came out, and then you have another anime. It's a movie. I can't think of the name, but that is also a romance type movie. And the main character in that anime, female character, she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And, I kind of want to see more of diverse characters
Mhm.
in shojo as well. And this is just me personally, but I don't want to always have to watch a shonen type anime
Yeah.
in order to see a wide variety of different characters from all over the world from different backgrounds
Yeah.
in just shonen. I want to also see it in my shoujo character. Like I would love to see a love story about a person of color character moving to Japan and falling in love with like a Japanese person,
Yeah.
and like their love story. What type of cultural aspects, like are they going to bump heads? Like what kind of love story is going to unfold there? Or
Yeah.
vice versa, where a Japanese person is moving across country because they met this person online, and so now they're going to uproot their life to go live in that same country as that person. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that type of love story. Like I would love to see things like that, but I
Yeah.
feel like just more recently a lot of different characters, if we're specifically talking about people of color, you don't necessarily see them in or see those types of characters in shoujo anime. You only really see
Yeah.
them in shonen anime, which that's not necessarily a complaint, but I would love to see a lot more in a vast wide variety of different types or different genre types.
Mhm. I do think that shoujo, because it's such a personal, like, you follow the main character so closely, where I feel like shonen fighting, battle, there's not so much character, well, there is character development, but there's not so much you have to, like, know these characters, like, on a personal level and understand them. So
Mhm.
people can sort of put in characters they may not understand, cultures they may not have ever experienced or whatnot, because
Mhm.
it is like a shonen type genre. But I feel like when it comes to a love story, it might be a little difficult for like Japanese people to understand somebody else's culture of like falling in love or and
Right.
I believe that might be why like a lot of them are unable to write that type of story. So, like, for me, I absolutely wish for more diversity, but I have to constantly, like, remind myself that the people writing these stories, their reality is, like, nowhere near mine,
Mhm.
and mine is nowhere near theirs, so it's just
Right.
it's just really hard to think about, especially how female characters are written, you know what I mean? I
Mhm.
think because every country obviously every country has women, but besides, like, shoujo, like you were mentioning, romance type of stories, like, the vast majority of almost all of the, like, genre written by men. I think shoujo's probably has, if anything, the most women, like,
Yeah.
writing things or making these stories.
Yeah.
So, obviously and obviously people are gonna write stories like they like who would write a story that they hate, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they're gonna write like what they wanna see and what they like personally. So they're obviously gonna portray women the way they see them or like what they want to see them. And that the same goes for male characters. And
Mhm.
in my opinion, it's already hard enough for a female author to write a good female protagonist, especially in a shonen type genre. Like, how can I expect the vast majority of male writers to do any better? You know? So I'm like, okay, I accept the loss, but it's sad and it sucks, but that's just reality. Let
Yeah.
alone having a Japanese man write a woman that I would like to see portrayed with some sort of like progressive notion we have in like Western countries. That's like
Mhm.
asking for like the impossible, you know?
Well, and that's why I think, for example, if you're talking about women in anime that do so well, like their character developments are
Yeah.
well written, I would say Jujutsu Kaisen is one of the ones that, like, pops in my head of, like,
Mhm.
they're not, like, your typical shonen female characters.
Yeah, they're not scantily clad, they're not really, like, sexualized that much, and you know
Right.
what's funny? He always says, like, the reason why he writes women, like, fully dressed, the way he writes them, the way he does, is because he said, like, his parents read his stuff, which I
Ah,
thought was
yeah.
really cute. Yeah,
He was like, "I
that's
don't
why.
want
I
let
don't
me
want my
not write
parents to read
something
me.
my mom's gonna be like, 'Now why is this girl in a bikini fighting?'" You know
Yep,
what I
yep, literally, that's why.
mean?
I think that's so cute, though.
I did, yeah, that's really cute, that's really
Yeah.
cute.
Oh, that's so funny.
Who are some of your favorite characters that are diverse? And it could be past, present, I can't say future because we haven't seen them yet, but, like, past characters, present characters, and, like, or even just anime in general that for a fact has a lot of diversity in the show. I already know one you gonna say One Piece, so Imma just start with
Oh, you know me too well. You know me too well. I actually really like, Samurai Champloo. It's really
Yes.
good. They have a good sort of interesting characters. Also, Durara has, I believe they talk about organized crime from Japan to Russia, and I feel like it was
Yeah.
really funny. And another one that I don't think a lot of people know, like, what is it? It was, like, 2 1 young girl, okay, I think it was Michiko and
Ah, Michiko and Hatchin.
yes,
I love that anime. Oh my gosh, it was great.
so good.
But that one is not surprisingly, like, it's not set in Japan.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's not. It's ooh, another one that's really sad is Black Lagoon.
Oh,
That has
yeah.
quite a good cast. Oh, and A Silent Voice. Love it.
Yes. I will say if I'm adding to that, I will also add A Sign of Affection.
Mhm.
Girl, I'm telling you, it's beautiful. I love it so much.
It's on my to watch list. I gotta
Just
watch
watch
it.
it. Just do it, please. Oh my gosh. The main female character, Yuki, is just so stinking cute and adorable. I love it. I melt every single time I watch that anime. Oh, it's just so good. It's good. It's really good. But some of my other ones, if I'm like adding characters,
Mhm,
um, this is a Netflix anime. Carol and Tuesday.
mhm.
Carol and Tuesday, that's on Netflix. And I actually really enjoyed that. Like thoroughly enjoyed it.
Carol Tuesday, yeah, I never finished that.
Mhm. It was pretty good. And then other characters is the girl from Bleach,
Oh, yeah, Yoroichi-san. Oh my god,
Yoruichi.
Yoroichi she was like my first girl crush, one of my first girl crushes.
I loved her. I'm sorry. She's real cool. She's the
She's
bomb.
fire, she's
She
amazing.
is the bomb. I have chosen a lot of African American characters, or I don't wanna
Mhm,
say African American characters, but I'll say Black characters because I feel like when you're talking about diversity in anime and representation in anime, you look at characters that you want to see in yourself. So for
mhm,
me, I'm drawn to Black characters, and I'm also drawn to other female characters, but I feel like for me personally, That's what I look for,
Yeah.
when I'm talking about diversity, but I also wanna see a wide variety of different characters from all different backgrounds in different types of anime. I feel
Mhm.
like that is important within the anime community because we see so many people with all different backgrounds,
Mhm.
and I feel like anime should also reflect what we see,
Mhm.
but I also understand that where it is created,
It's, like, limited
it's gonna be
understanding.
limited. Right. Which is why I think in the anime community, this is what I really love to see. I love to see different people of different backgrounds, different ethnic groups cosplay their favorite characters in their own versions. Diversity in anime has grown significantly in the sense that we are now seeing an increase, maybe not a big increase, but definitely an increase in the amount of diverse characters that we see in our anime. But I also think it is important that as an anime fan, the anime community, we should be able to, no matter what gender you are, what race you are, what background you come from, if you have a favorite character, I think you should be able to cosplay as that character. And I feel like no matter what part of that character resonates with you, if you are putting yourself out there and cosplaying as your favorite character, that's what you should do. And don't let anybody else tell you, well, that character is not this race, or that character does not look like this, or that character is blah, blah, blah. We need to come together and uplift those people who are paying homage to their favorite characters. As long as that person is having fun, we as an anime community, I think, should come together and uplift that person. Just be positive about it. There's no reason for us to be in anybody else's comments being so negative about the way that somebody else has put themselves out there about a cosplay. We should be giving encouraging words rather than negative words. And I would just love to see that more in the anime community as a whole. We should not be here to tear each other down. We should be here to lift each other up.
Absolutely. I love it. You know what I always thought was funny, though? That when you have an audience that's Japanese and you show them anime, like a lot of characters, a lot of them will say they're foreign, they're not Japanese.
Yeah.
While someone who's like a foreigner sees it and they're like, "Oh, that's a Japanese person."
Yep.
And I always thought that was very interesting because I guess from their lens, granted, a lot of these characters, like for instance, Naruto, let's say, you have blonde hair, blue eyes, obviously,
Right.
he's not meant to be Asian, while like someone like Sasuke is. But
Or
like,
even
yeah.
like One Piece. Like a
Oh yeah.
lot of I know for a fact a lot of people think Luffy is Japanese and he's
Mhm.
not.
Yeah.
Even the creator had to come out and say, "Guys, Luffy is not Japanese."
Mhm.
He's what? He's Brazilian, I think. He's
Yeah, he
supposed to
he was
be
supposed
from
to be like
Brazil.
like they said, I think he originally said like South American or something, but when they made the what is it? The live action, he
Yeah.
clarified.
Mhm. I think Zoro is the only one that's technically Japanese.
I believe so, yeah. I think
Everyone
everyone
else
else
is
is like
from different
somewhere
countries,
else. Yep.
which that is so beautiful. I look, y'all, I'm not a One Piece fan, but I think the diversity in One Piece is absolutely
You
beautiful.
got to get on that really long train, okay?
Look, we've already discussed it's too late for me.
It's not. It's never too late. The story, it's great because it just incorporate aspects of racism, classism, it's good. It's good. It's just I wish that would make the female characters a little bit better. But it is what it is. You can't ask for perfection. So
I feel like at one point in time when I did watch One Piece, I feel like Nami was my favorite character. because she was the only female character that
Oh, yeah.
was when I was watching, she was the only one, so
Mhm.
obviously she had to be my favorite.
No, I think Robin is better, if I'm being honest. She's a
Yeah,
little
I
bit
think a lot
better.
of people like Romy.
Cool, calm, collected. She's got it all.
I have not seen her character in action on the show, obviously, because I stopped watching it at that point
One day.
or before then. You keep
One
saying
day.
one day.
One day.
You
You
say
will
one
watch
day.
it.
We shall see. We shall see. But I will agree with you on that. Like there are a lot of anime characters that we think that that particular character is Japanese,
Yeah.
whereas to a Japanese person they're like, "Actually, they're not."
Yeah.
So, nice try.
It's like, "We don't look like that." And the foreigner's like, "We don't look like that either."
Yeah. That's where we're butting heads. It's like, okay, well, if you all don't look like that, then who is this character supposed to be? It's like, nah,
Mhm.
it's just a character.
That's just how they are.
That's just how they are. So, but I do want to see a lot more characters from all different races, ethnic backgrounds
Mhm.
in more anime. And I think it's important to bring that not only to the show, but I think it's good like generations after us that will continue to watch anime. I think there's going to be as the years go by, I have a feeling that there might be a lot more instances where you'll see a lot more representation for almost everybody or even everybody in the anime
Yeah.
shows that they watch because a lot of people are getting into the anime community, especially like during 2020. There was like a boom
Yeah,
in
and
anime.
influx. Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I think a lot of those people, now that they're into the anime community, they're watching anime, they are enjoying it, something is going to shift. And
Yeah.
that shift is going to be where, now you're going to start seeing people who studying Japanese and are trying to work with Japanese anime companies and or working with big time production companies such as Netflix or even Disney
Yeah.
trying to get their own anime shows out there. And I think that that would be great because then we get to watch and enjoy anime from not only just Japan, but like from a wide variety of different people and different backgrounds.
Mhm. Yeah. I know, I agree. I think time is really the only factor, like
Mhm.
how much time. I do think particularly in some place like East Asia, it will take a long time. Even if there'll be more and more like, women in like the anime field, creative control will almost most likely still be held by men. Because, for instance, even in the US, although I think women in film and animation will almost be equal to men in the next few years, so it'll be about 50-50. The huge majority when it comes to creative control is still held by men. And
Mm.
then on top of that, if you think of women of color in these fields, like, girl, it's so far, even in a country like America. So I feel like in East Asian countries, where some of these views may not be as progressive as even America, it's just gonna be time, like, time is gonna be a huge factor, and I hope to see it in my lifetime, like, more of it,
Yeah.
but that level, yeah, it'll take a long time, but hopefully we can just speed that process up real quick somehow.
I think it's definitely grown since we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
As time has progressed, there are a diverse amount of characters. There are some in shows like Fire Force
Mhm,
and Haikyuu. I think there's one or two.
mhm.
Even for example, Cardcaptor Sakura,
Yeah.
the main male character, Lee Xiaodong, was not from Japan. He
Mhm.
was from China.
Yeah.
And when they did the revamp, I remember in the 90s anime, Lee and his cousin, Mei Lin, they only spoke to each other in Japanese.
Yeah.
But in the revamp Card Captor Sakura Clear Card, there is one particular scene where the voice actors are speaking in Mandarin.
Mhm.
I believe it's Mandarin.
Yeah.
And I thought that that was interesting because they're like paying homage to where their characters are actually supposed to be from.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, you wouldn't think that. Like, yes, these characters are non-Japanese, but they speak in Japanese. So, cuz they're in Japan
Yeah.
now. So now they're speaking Japanese. But, you would think like normally if two people speak a language, so for example, you and I speak English, but when we're in Japan, we don't just speak in Japanese. We speak in English as well.
Yeah.
So you would think like it's just the two of the characters and their native language is not Japanese, their native language is Mandarin. So
Yeah.
you would think that the two characters would be speaking in Mandarin. But back in that time they were just like, "But they're in Japan now, so I don't want to say the characters had to be relatable, but in that particular sense, people may not understand that cultural
Mm.
difference.
Mhm.
And they
Yeah.
did that with a couple of other characters as well, unless, for example, they had a foreigner character, quote unquote, who was visiting Japan and didn't speak any Japanese.
Yeah.
In which case, then it became this character speaks no Japanese, they speak English. So the one character who can speak English is going to now communicate. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. I see what you're saying. China is also another large producer of anime.
Mhm.
And for those of you who don't know, there's a lot of collaborations with particularly like South Korea as well as China, where although maybe higher levels of production might be done by Japanese people, they have Korean producers or Korean directors or even Chinese animators and whatnot. So a lot of Japanese anime, if you've ever looked at the credits, there are a lot of Chinese names, Korean names, because it's kind of like a all of East Asia works with like animation when it comes to animation,
Mhm.
which is nice. But obviously the language spoken is still in Japanese.
Right.
And the stories a lot of times are based in Japanese. But we have a lot more manhwas and whatnot coming in to be animated. And honestly, we also BL has become a huge thing, like boys
Yeah.
love. So that's like a whole new sector coming in. And even in the anime world, like they've animated some and that those have become super popular.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's growing, like, it continues to grow, and we'll get new storytellers and whatnot, which will be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter continuously having to, like, time, it all just takes time.
Right. And who's to say, 10 years from now, we'll probably see a lot more, which I
Mhm.
I can't wait to see more. I love to see more.
Absolutely.
I think diversity in anime is important because it not only shows the representation of the millions of fans all across the world, but it helps us as anime fans feel like we are seen,
Mm. Yep, all over the
even
world, yep.
right, even though I'm all the way across the world, there's this character that I can relate to, that I feel like I can look like, and I think that that is so important,
Mhm. And I
and
think,
I
the more these, like, big corporations come in, you got Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, they're all trying to make more money, get more of these fans, and anime has become, like, a very huge part of the market as well.
yeah,
I think you're just gonna see them all continuously dipping their toes in, which means, you know, more money pooling in and
mhm,
more foreign sort of interaction as well. So, honestly, I'm excited. I'm excited for future
mhm.
anime.
Yes, I am as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you think. What type of diverse characters do you want to see in your anime? Do you want to see more in shonen, or do you want to see more in your shoujo, or whatever it is that you're watching? Make sure that you guys are following us on our socials on Instagram and TikTok at Anime Sekai Podcast. And we hope to see you guys next week for another brand new episode.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
bye guys.